So what we just performed was John Cage's 4 minutes and 33.
Yeah.
Now, tell me a little bit about that. We did our own version, which was for soloists, vocalists, I guess. But
Probably.
But what was the version that John Cage composed?
Well, he originally wrote it for any combination of instruments, and as far as I understand, actually for any length of time. 3 movements, and each movement was any length of time. And the name came from the first performance, which was for a solo piano. And actually, a lot of people believe that it is for solo piano, but that's not the case. And I'm not sure whether so the title came from how long he took to play his 3 movements. And then there was other additions, and I think now it's structured to last for 4 minutes and 33 seconds, from what I understand. I'm not a huge expert.
So what compelled you to want to kind of back this composer for settling the score?
Oh, well, I've played it before. I played it a couple of times at least with the New Music Ensemble 175 East, and it's quite an amazing thing to do. I mean, and a lot of people, I don't know, it challenges your idea of what music actually is, and it also seems to still be, even though it's like 60 something years old, it seems to be quite controversial in its performance. But if you don't explain too much about it, if the audience is not really that sure what it is they're coming to hear, then the performance can be absolutely pretty outstanding. It's quite an experience to do. I don't think it's ever been performed by a professional orchestra. I know one of the college bands for the KBB festival did it this year, I think. But as far as I know, I don't think it's ever been performed by an orchestra in the town hall stage.
So when people experience this performance, are the musicians actively performing, or are you just tools down and sitting there and waiting? What can we expect?
Yeah, well, there's a lot. I remember when we did it with 175 East, there was quite a lot of discussion about how to actually perform it. I think there needs to be something to signify that you're about to start the movement and you're about to stop the movement.
So for us, it was getting in and out of the car.
But effectively, I mean, if you picked up your instrument ready to play, you're sort of possibly turning it into a little bit of a joke,
right?
Which it certainly is not a joke. Although that's also one of the major reactions from people is, oh, this is just a stupid piece where no one plays anything.
Right.
I mean, and the thing it does for me is it heightens. There's a couple of things. One is that it heightens your listening. So I mean, I'm assuming it's possibly a little bit like one of your senses are taken away, or it's the expectation of what the musicians normally do when you go to a concert, that doesn't happen, and then you hear suddenly all the other sounds that are going on at that time.
Right.
So that's quite amazing. So your listening skills are certainly heightened during the performance. And the other thing too is I find really interesting is the fact that those sounds actually go on during all of our performances, but you don't actually hear them, or you choose to tune them out. So that actually it's part of every single performance. We've just taken one bit away, which is fascinating to do. It's an amazing experience. It's a great experience. So I'm not really, I know it can be a bit of a joke, but I don't mean it to be a joke. I think it's just would be a fascinating experience. So vote.
And it's something we can quite easily orchestrate with, our existing.
Well, orchestra. Yeah. I think the problem with most performances is if you go into a concert hall, there's etiquette behind what an audience is supposed to do. You know, they behave a certain way. I mean, I know we hear people coughing and stuff, but people are expected to sit quietly and listen. So, I mean, if you know that the performance is going to be of the musicians not making any noise on their instruments, you don't necessarily want the behaviour of the audience to stick normally. I mean, if they're frustrated by it, they should be frustrated and make noise accordingly, in my opinion.
So I guess every performance of it is its own orchestration or composition, in the sense that our Dominion Road performance can't be repeated, can it?
Well, exactly, and there's that too, yeah. And I know there's plenty of recordings available, and there's some recordings of live performances where you hear the noises that were going on during the performance, but there are also recordings where it's literally no sound, so you could do the performance in your own house with the stereo.
All right, so message to voters: vote Cage.
Vote Cage.
Thanks.
Yeah.